It's just like, oh yeah, oh yeah. That was a great song. I mean, I wasn't born in the 80s, but it's still a great song. What other songs are related to our subject? Well, definitely anything related to pour some sugar on me. We are going to be talking about sex, drugs, and self-driving cars. Why not? And what better period to talk about this than the 80s? And I know there's a whole bunch of 80s nostalgic people that are not really born, that weren't even alive in the 80s. It's kind of a thing. The newer generation is loving the 80s. I was looking at a YouTube video, and it was this girl that had like a Commodore 64, and she was learning to program this video game. And she was like, she was 20 years old. So that happened. I'm Julian. And this is the podcast called While You Wait. To charge up your electric vehicle, we discuss about anything and everything related to EVs, but this is going to be a bit different than usual. We're going to go within the philosophy behind, self-driving vehicles or more autonomous vehicles, and the technologies behind them according to the people who don't drive them or drive them, the people that are passengers behind the wheel. Call it however you want. This is what we're going to talk about in this podcast. Now, that being said, if ever you have had some, encounters with alcohol, marijuana, or anything that can make you impaired, make sure that you drop it in the comment section, because this is all happening right now. Super cool. Sex, drugs, and self-driving vehicles. Well, you all know the really big saying, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, meaning that this is a thing for rockers, for people who are, like rock star, pop stars, whatever you want to call it, it's there. The Rolling Stones, all of these people out there, they want to be rock stars. I mean, everybody wants to be a rock star. When wouldn't you want to be a rock star? But maybe you can be a rock star on the weekends. Maybe your kids are being sleeping over at a friend's house. Maybe, you don't have children, but on the weekends you decide to go crazy and do parties. I mean, that is another possibility, that you are one of these little tiny weeny rock stars over the span of your weekends or your thirsty Thursdays. I don't know, but maybe that's something you like to do, and that is you're not in the AAs, so you're somebody who drinks alcohol, consumes marijuana, and then some of these things, and you own a car. Oh my God, such a dangerous combo. At least if you were like that and you didn't own a car, it would be a bit better. Most certainly. But what can we do? We're all human and we all have vices, and at one point in our life, we make mistakes. Now, some of these mistakes sometimes might, lead us to jail, yes, behind bars. Some of these mistakes might just be like, oh, I'll never do that one again because I got away with it the first time. If you are one of my dear watchers, make sure that you actually leave a comment. Has it ever happened to you to drunk drive? On a podcast before this one, actually, we were talking about teenagers, and a lot of people have said that while they were teenagers, yes, in this precious age range, they actually did drink drive. And so it's something that can happen. Now, of course, we don't want it to happen, but we're all human, and for some reason, when you're a teen, your brain is not developed. But it would be time to tell us in the live comment section if, as an adult, you have actually done it. You've actually done it. So drop a comment, tell us if you have drunk driven. Now, that being said, drunk driving, the laws are different in every state, every country, meaning that some people will say that you can't drive and drink and drive 0-0. Here in Canada, usually you can have had a little bit of alcohol and still be okay to drive. There's a limit for that. We're gonna dive right into that glass. Yeah, on this podcast, because, I'm Julian today. And Dave Frank says, I don't smoke or drink in my car. Well, you shouldn't. You should do it before. Not in your car. And then when you do it before, you should not take your car. It's pretty easy. This podcast is called While You Wait, and it is available on our channel in its live format, which you are maybe participating in right now, or you can always find it in the podcast playlist, which has the same name, While You Wait. Make sure that while you wait for your girlfriend to be ready, for your sausages to be cooked, to listen in to the podcast. You can also watch if, you're feeling like watching an hour and a half long version of the podcast with my face in it, because some people like faces, some people like, the eye to eye, this kind of intimate contact. If you prefer to have me in your ears, no problem, I accept all of these options. Now, can self-driving cars handle the complexities of human vices like sex, drugs, and rock and roll? Yeah, we are not talking about putting your music right up there, but we could be. This can be distracting for some people to put the music right up there. We're going to be concentrating a lot more on the vices related to drugs. And in drugs, we do mean alcohol. We have started a little poll right here, right now, which is quite interesting. Exactly. Yeah, some sound systems are so good that there is a chance that the actual sex, drugs, and rock and roll happening in your car will definitely make it difficult to drive, especially when you have this big boom, 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 this bass. The hair of the girl was literally going woo, 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 over her head, with a Van der Graaf generator, because the bass in that car was so big. That's from a YouTube video I saw. I don't know, when I was on YouTube. You know what happens when you go there, people. You find me. And you find the podcast While You Wait. And you wait with me, and we talk about all of these things. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in. Make sure that you actually share this video with one person. Yes, just one person. Maybe 50 would be better. There's an arrow right down there. You click the arrow and then bam! It directs you to Facebook, X, Reddit, and many other places. You can also share the URL of this podcast/video in your text messages or send an email. Now, don't do snail mail, it's gonna take way too long. All right, we have Dave Frank, who says, the fastest I have driven was around 127 miles per hour, Illinois to Nevada. That must have been quite a short ride, just because he was driving so fast. Now, we're not promoting anything illegal here, but we are talking about the realities of being human, and that means being dumb, for some reason. Michael Luders just dropped in. Hey, Michael, thank you so much for being here. We have started a poll. The poll is, what is impaired driving? Now, some people, 14% are saying that marijuana is not being impaired, and that alcohol at 86% is being impaired. There's no... No, there wasn't. No, of course it's a trick question. I decide. I'm the boss of this podcast. So of course I'm going to trick you. The thing is, impaired driving is related to both. Oh, what do you mean? I mean that impaired driving is as much on marijuana than it is on alcohol. We did have a little bit of this discussion previous to this podcast so that we could bring you the best subject ever. Meaning that impaired driving is not solely alcohol. No. Marijuana is able to get you impaired, and any other drugs. That's why we are talking about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but most likely sex, drugs, and self-driving cars. Oh yes, it's gonna be fun. Hi there, Javier just dropped in the live comment section. If you are here, well, make sure that you make yourself known. Log into your YouTube account and leave a comment. This is all about discussions, interactions, engagement, and really getting your opinion out there, or confessing some dirty sins. Why? Because this is about sex, drugs, and self-driving cars. Now, that being said, we need to ask this question. And like I said, it's going to be more philosophical. So for those of you who might not be on marijuana right now, well, it's going to get philosophical. So you do whatever you want with your body and the state you're in, but it's going to get philosophical. That being said, can self-driving cars handle the complexities of human vices, sex, drugs, alcohol, and all of these things? Or can even humans handle the facts that self-driving cars are a thing and they're coming in near you? T Doyle 3 says, you're amazing. You have great feet too. That's amazing. Actually, you can't see my feet right now. So for some reason, you found me on the internet. Which makes a lot of sense, but it's okay. I'm Julian for today, and I will be your host on the podcast while you wait. AKA Fumbler says, would be fun to hotbox in a self-driving car. So you're meaning hotboxing, not in a parking way. We've all seen Cheech and Chong, people. We've all seen it. So if you don't know what a hotbox is, just go Google it, because I don't want this video to be restricted. In that sense. So hotboxing is when you actually take a smoke machine, you put in your car, and you close all the windows and everything like that. And well, then the smoke from the smoke machine accumulates, and it makes this thick and dense like cloud. That is all over your car, but only inside, not outside. And well, that makes you kind of cough and then be in a different state, right? It's that easy. Now the thing is, these hot boxes, usually they are done by people who, do enjoy Cheech and Chong. So if you're one of them, well, just drop a comment like this video right here, right now. We appreciate all the love we can get. Nice. Cheech and Chong FSD edition.
I'm really gonna say yes.
It would be super fun. It would be super fun to have an FSD edition with Cheech and Chong. Have you seen Cheech and Chong? Okay. It's funny. It's two super big stoners. Oh. Yeah, that just do stoner things. It's like the first ever stoner movie is Cheech and Chong. AKA Fumbler says, open the door, it's me. Okay, so there's this is exactly what happens. Yeah, because it's not the police. Oh my god, it's not the police. Oh, we are talking philosophy because we are wanting to ask this question. Self-driving cars are happening. I mean, the full FSD, so it was called full self-drive, so FSD, has been unveiled by Tesla very recently, and the FSD allows you to really not drive your vehicle. Now, you should not drive it. They say that you're supposed to stay behind the steering wheel, stay conscious, and stay not impaired, and you need to have your driver's license and all of these things. With the Tesla one, and by activating the FSD, the full self-drive from Tesla, well, you are kind of not driving that much. So it is very close to full self-driving or autonomous vehicles. That being said, there's still a steering wheel, there's still a gas brake, a pedal, there's gas pedal, brake pedal, there's all of these other things in the car. Meaning that, well, FSD could be used maybe for, when you're feeling like you're a bit drunk. Or any other type of impairments. Because, well, we've all been into a situation where we were not sure how close we were from that range. And we're going to talk about the range you need to be at or not be at when you consume these drugs. This is all going to happen. Okay, perfect. You're all here. You're all focused. Let's dive right in. People in the comment section are super nice. You guys are all talking to each other, and this is wonderful. I love it. Now, how would self-driving cars navigate situations that are of a human person in the car? We're not talking dog, cats, chimpanzees. We're not going there. We're not sending them in space yet. Where a human is impaired. Well, because that's what they did, huh? That's what they did. They did. No, we don't do that anymore. There's they invented PETA and all these other super great, well, the protection of the animals. Well, you all get it. Okay, let's dive right back in. Sex, drugs, and self-driving cars. Meaning that, okay, you have this navigation system. It's available to you. What is a navigation system for those of you who don't know? A navigation system that is in accordance to the full self-drive, meaning that a car that full self-drives has a special navigation system. What do you mean, Julian? I mean that it has sensors all over the car or the vehicle. It also has some cameras. Yeah, sensors and cameras are not the same thing. No, they're not. Sensors don't record the same way. Sometimes they have like LiDAR, radar, things like that. So it's a sensor. Then there's cameras. Then there's an algorithm. Yeah, an AI algorithm that processes all of this information. And yes?
Remember AI from yesterday?
Yeah. We're going to go there, the AI from yesterday. And that makes it all possible for the car to actually decide what it's going to do. So it's taking the decision for you. It's making the decision for you. It's autonomous. It can drive itself. You still need to be there for the Tesla one, but the Mercedes one, well, it seems like you don't have to. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be legal in every state, but Mercedes has come up with a full self-drive that allows you to really like not be present. A bit like in the Waymo car from Google, which means that there's not even like, you're not touching anything. You're really only a passenger in this vehicle, making it so crazy. So if you're a passenger in a vehicle, well, you are allowed to be drunk. You are allowed to be stoned out of your mind. You're allowed to take any other type of substances, of course, that are legal in your state or country, right? Wink, wink. Now, if you are doing that, and the car is self-driving, well, why did that matter? And this is the subject, people, this is the subject. Why would it matter for you to be drunk or, well, high if the car already drives itself? Because it's driving itself. So meaning that, like, anybody could just be a passenger in it. But so far, you're not supposed to be a passenger in it. See how complicated this is? We assisted to the first ever self-driving car race, our autonomous race. It happened in Abu Dhabi on April 27th, 2024. And this was the most boring race ever. For those of you who were there and saw it, so it was 4 autonomous race cars. Yeah, we're talking like F2 cars. With petroleum motors and, well, with radars, lidars, cameras, sensors. I mean, all of that mumbo jumbo was in them. There was no pilot. Well, because I just told you, they're autonomous. There's literally no pilot. So what was instead of the pilot was the computer that processed all of this algorithm in real time so that the car can make its own decision. Because, I mean, it still needs to decide where it's going to go and how it's going to handle the curves, how it's going to handle the other vehicles. Now, we assisted to this live, and it got pretty boring pretty fast. Meaning all of these great self-driving vehicles and all this like $1 million technology just did not want to compete. They did not want to fight each other. They did not want to. Maybe we will be saved. They had no desire into hurting each other. Not whatsoever. Every time one car would stop or like kind of decelerate, the other one would just kind of stop, decelerate next to it, and then it started again. But it really want to evade any conflict. Like that was how safe the self-driving technologies on these, we're talking F2 cars, we're talking cars that can go like miles per hour, people, like real cars. Still, there was no accident. There was no accident. We saw no accident, right? No accident. It was boring. It was so boring. It was supposed to be like 16 laps. Finally, they went down to 8 laps, and then it was only, 6 laps? 6 laps. Because there was one car, Eva, she was just like chilling there. She was like, I'm done with this. It seems like they lost the Wi-Fi connection to her, so she decided to just stop. And then what she did though, you know what she did? She was like, again, she's a very safety person, Eva. She kind of pulled herself on the side of the track and just stayed there. So I guess not, I'm not gonna hurt anybody if I stay there and I'm over for today. I'm gonna be good. This is Julian for the podcast While You Wait, where we talk about everything and anything related to electric vehicles while you wait for your electric vehicle to charge, or while you wait for your dinner to be ready. So make sure you tune in. This happens live at 12 p.m. PDT, Pacific Daylight Saving Time. I know it's so confusing, but at the time that it's live right now. And if you're not there when it's live, do not worry. You can always catch it in our podcast playlist, which has the same name, While You Wait. Oh yes. Meaning that the advancements in self-driving cars have been like crazy. We saw all these tech yesterday, all of these like F2 cars that were going on the track. And well, Tesla implementing these taxi robots very soon. So full self-driving is not a thing of the future. It is something that is happening right here, right now, and that you might have access to if you do own a Tesla. Now, I saw a friend yesterday and she actually just purchased the FSD, full self-drive for her Tesla. Oh yes, that happened. Now, you might be thinking, well, okay, when you're a kid, it's pretty cool, you know, you learn to drive and all that with the FSD, so the car kind of drives itself and you minimize risks of accidents. But then as an adult, why would you buy this as an adult? You know you're an adult and it's close to, I think, $8,000, right? Can we Google this? Is it like $8,000, the FSD from Tesla? It's $10,000, $10,000 Canadian, so maybe close to 8,000 USD dollars. So you need to really invest in this. Like, this is a big investment in your car, in your safety and all of that. But how really are you gonna use it? Oh, this is gonna be fun. How are you gonna use it, the self-driving capabilities of your vehicle? I mean, you wanna make the most out of it. You paid, what, $10,000 for it? So this is definitely something you wanna do. Then you don't wanna be unlawful, do you? I mean, most people don't wanna be unlawful. It's not a thing. So what do they do? Well, we will get to that subject very, very soon. Did we find the amount of money? It doesn't say.
Also offer a subscription.
Oh.
$99 per month for enhanced autopilot of FSD.
Okay, so $99 a month at Tesla for enhanced. It's more expensive than Netflix. Yeah, definitely more expensive. But you can watch Netflix while you drive. That's how you save money, people. So $99 per month. Yeah, they should give their free subscription to Netflix while you drive. But no, this is the podcast while you wait.
Okay, but we're gonna have at one point we're gonna say like while you drive, listen to us.
While you drive, it's true. You could listen to us while you drive, actually.
Yes.
There's not, yeah, because charging is gonna take way less time very, very soon. That's what's gonna happen. So what are the promises of self-driving cars? Now, some people are purchasing this at $99 a month and $10 on a one-time payment plan. Let's call it like that. So what does self-driving offer to you as a person? Why would you want self-driving? Because you do sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right? Because you are that type of person. Or maybe, just maybe, I don't know, you want this extra layer of safety. Because what self-driving or full self-driving is supposed to bring you, it's supposed to bring you that extra layer of safety and security. It's supposed to make decisions for you, to help you. Meaning, well, you're supposed to still be behind the wheel, but all of these sensors, all of this technology will react sometimes more rapidly than you, possibly saving your life, saving the lives of the passengers in the vehicle, or saving the life of the people in the streets, or the other drivers. Yes. So it has been said that by implementing self-driving and full self-driving, it should reduce the numbers of accidents on the roads, meaning the roads are going to be safer, because road accidents are they're a big factor. Like, there's a lot of chance you're going to get in an accident once in your life. Which is really bad, right?
It is kind of bad.
It's kind of bad.
Yeah.
It's kind of bad. We're getting feedback. It's kind of bad. That's the feedback we're getting. Then we have congestion, meaning that, well, I'm not talking about your seasonal allergies here. I'm talking about the congestions in the roads, on the roads. If we have self-driving cars who can accumulate this data and really cross at the right time, not look at their phones, well, that means that there's going to be less traffic in that sense, and they're going to react to the traffic differently. Okay, that's interesting. That's very interesting, Julian. Thank you for bringing that up. And then we have, well, the accessibility. And that's where that links up to our actual title. The accessibility. So if you are a teenager, and we're talking with a driver's license, at least a noob one, we're getting there. So if you are a teenager, if you are an elderly person that still has a driver's license, but capabilities and faculties are getting lower, degrading in that sense, or if you are an adult and you like to go to parties. Oh yeah! Who likes EDM here? Drop a comment. Meaning that if you are an adult, you'd like to go out with your vehicle because you are actually, you're actually like not that close to the city and you don't like public transport or whatever, you will take your car, you will have a glass of wine, maybe 2 glasses of wine, something like that, and that will impair you. It will impair you, people. Wine impairs you. It does that. Marijuana too, and many other drugs that are not yet legal here in Canada. But we'll get right into this. So thank you for tuning in. I'm Julian. This podcast is called While You Wait for Your EV to Charge. We are talking sex, drugs, and self-driving cars. Why all of this in the same title? Because it really makes sense. If you're having sex in your car while driving, well, that's kind of impaired driving. If you're on drugs in your car while driving, that is also impaired driving. If you're listening to music at crazy mega decibels, that is also impaired driving. So all of these things really affect the way you drive and the way and it can all happen in one car. You could be on drugs, having sex, and blasting the stereo in the back seat while you drive home. This can all happen in the same sentence, which is kind of scary. It's very, very scary. I'm not sure I like this. But the Tesla FSD has actually shown to be more safe, and it's very convenient, even just for very, very long road trips. If you're on a highway or if you're stuck in traffic, putting on the FSD, so the full self-drive, or putting on just the self-drive, which I have on my Tesla Model X, this self-drive acts a lot like a cruise control that decides how fast and how slow you go. So it brakes for you, it follows the car in front of you, sorry, not behind you, follows the car in front of you, and then, well, also if somebody cuts you off, it's gonna slow down. If you put your blinker, it will actually go where you told it to go. So it will do all of these amazing things. So that's something you need to understand, that full self-driving is not necessarily just to not drive. It's just that you can drive maybe for longer because you're gonna be less tired. Because some of the driving is being done by your car and not literally you. And I have tested that when going to Kamloops, when going to In-N-Out Burger in Kaiser. So from Vancouver to Kaiser, that's about 500 miles. Back and forth, close to 1,000 miles. And I have to say, I felt a lot less tired when I arrived there, especially when it's a day trip. If you want to try to do approximately 500 miles in one day, that's a lot. So you really having this assistance or this self-drive or full self-drive makes it just a lot more calm. We got Carl who just dropped in the live comment section. Thank you, Carl, for being there. Would sex in a self-driving car be called the mile marker high club? I mean, that could be, because sex in an airplane is called the mile high club, but then you would need to really have it in a different way. And so, yeah, there could be a thing for that. I think I have no idea if that exists, but we're not going to Google that. We might find things we don't want to see right here, right now. Michael Luther says, if the race management stops you, your license is gone, regardless of whether the car is driving alone. Well, that is exactly the type of questions I want, Michael. Thank you so much for bringing that up. We are going into the dark side of self-driving vehicles. Again, the dark side is not the actual self-driving vehicle. It's the people behind the wheel. It's the passengers. It's those who are going to use their powers in a dark way. I know we're all talking about Darth Vader right now. But you know what? Anakin was good before he became Darth Vader. So you never know what could happen once you activate the full self-drive. Maybe you will have a taste of the dark force and you will not come back to the light. It could happen. For all of you Star Trek lovers out there, they're gone now. They're gone now.
We're losing droids fast.
We're losing droids fast. Sex, drugs, and self-driving vehicles. Let's get into it. The dark side of it is definitely for people to consume. And then let's get into this, because this is very interesting. If you're just dropping by, I'm Julian, and this is the podcast While You Wait for Your Electric Vehicle to Charge. We talk about anything related to electric vehicles and, well, technologies related to them, or just the futures of technologies within the vehicle industry in general. Make sure you share that video with a friend, a mom, whoever that you have on your speed dial. You can even text a URL to somebody.
Mom likes to drink and drive.
If your mom likes to drink and drive, send this link. There's chances that, well, she'll be there next Christmas, you know? So this is pretty good. This is pretty good incentive.
And if she has a Tesla, you know what to offer her.
Oh, yeah, and if she has a Tesla, that could be a really good Christmas gift, actually. Or it's Mother's Day very soon at the time of this recording. So maybe mommy's gonna get full self-drive this year. Good for those people who have loving mothers.
If it's from the kid,
If it's from the kid, you know why. Yeah. If it's from your kid, it should be reversed. Quite frankly, it should be reversed. That in an ideal world.
take their school phone.
They think they take the little cutting the grass fund and they buy you full self-driving. I think it's time to join the AA. I think that's where you're at in your life. Michael Luders says, "Do not go into the light after the accident." Caroline, follow the light. Piper, your glass is empty. No, actually, I got like a whole bunch of things in my glass. I can't say what, depending on in which state you are in. But there's definitely ice cubes in there. But my name is not Piper right now. It's Julian. Yeah. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. Okay, so legal drinking age here in British Columbia. It's different everywhere. Make sure that you drop a comment and you tell us what is the legal drinking age in your state or province, because this is very interesting, or in your country if you're watching us from anywhere else. We're broadcasting this live from British Columbia and most precisely Vancouver, if you need geotagging or something like that. The thing is, right here, it is 19 years old to be able to drink. Now, that doesn't mean you can't drink and drive. That's not what it means. It just means it's 19-year-olds. In the province of Quebec, which is my, I guess, province of development, well, it is 18, meaning a little bit younger. Now, what you need to understand too is that there is a difference in alcohol limit. Yeah. So here in British Columbia, it's 0.05. And in Quebec, it is 0.08. Which one is the biggest? Quebec! Yeah, you can drink earlier and you can drink more. I have no statistics on this, but let's not go there. Well, they always say that it's one consumption of alcohol every hour, and then two consumption within 2 hours, and then no more.
Is this 0.08 or 0.05?
I thought it was 0.005 and 0.008. 0.08, sorry. Yes. So how much really alcohol is it? It's complicated. It depends on your metabolism, depends on a whole bunch of things. So just don't drive and drink, or just don't drink, you know, in that sense. So that is for alcohol here. Carl says that it is 21 to drink in his state. Thank you, Carl. Other thing that is recently become more widely available, and that is marijuana. Marijuana is a thing now. It is like, well, it is becoming legal. I mean, it's legal in Thailand now. It's legal in all of Canada. It's legal in some states of the United States. What? Amsterdam does not want to cut off the accessibility to marijuana, but Amsterdam did not legalize mushrooms. So these guys invented this truffle, like this you know, the truffle that costs really expensive. Yeah. So they took the truffle and they actually crossed it with psilocybin, so that the truffles are psilocybin, because a truffle is not really a mushroom. Yeah, I know. I read that somewhere. Don't ask me where I go after this show. Like, this is too crazy. Now, Michael Doder says you can drink beer from the age of 16, but only drive from the age of 18. Whoa, Michael Luders.
Where do you live?
Where do you live where you can... You probably. I think some places in Europe you can drink when you're 16. Which is, why aren't we moving there when we are kids? Because our parents are not moving there. Or else every kid would be like, yeah, okay, I'm 16 now. Let's go there. Yeah, you would have moved to Vancouver when you were 14, because marijuana has only recently been legalized in Canada, but quite frankly, Vancouver has always been a hub for marijuana, meaning you could always get it, even before it was legal. There was some actual stores you could just walk in and get it. It's like it's legal, but not really.
As long as you have a doctor.
Yeah, as long as you have a doctor's note. Wait, so you just answer a few questions on the questionnaire, and that's pretty much it. Michael Luther says he's from Germany. So in Germany, you can drink beer from the age of 16, but you can only drive from the age of 18. Ooh. So, but does Germany has the Autobahn too? Yeah. Germany has some, pretty intense people and things. So the Autobahn, and you can drink at 16. So your brain is not fully developed, but whatever. 18 neither. I mean, I think only US is kind of doing it the best way, and you should still wait till you're 25. But who's doing that? No one. So marijuana is being legalized in more countries, but the tests and all these things, according to marijuana and to alcohol has been around for longer, meaning that there is the alco test, or there is a test that you can blow. Yeah, and it is supposed to give you the alcohol results. Now, if you are involved in an accident, sometimes what the police here is going to do in Canada, they're going to bring you to the actual police office like thingy, and they will take a blood sample, because the only way to be 100% sure is with your blood. But to do that, they need a good reason. So you need to pretty much be involved in an accident, or be involved in something that has caused damage to yourself, property, other people, all of that super awesome, lawful, words. If you know more about this, just drop a comment. But in general, that's how we test alcohol. Why do we do that? Because we had Prohibition, but then we had Al Capone. And then we actually had a whole... It was Montreal. Al Capone was all up in Montreal. Yeah, if you don't know that, Montreal was the red light district of the northern USA. Go do your history, people. But that being said, alcohol has been around for longer with drivers. So the fact that you were drinking alcohol and that you had a driver's license made it so that they made some laws and regulations, and they even invented these little devices to see if you were drunk. And you've all seen this, when they ask you to walk on the line. And we're not talking about Johnny Cash here. We're talking about really you walking on the line to see if you're able to walk on the line. Have I done it? No, it's never happened to me. Have you done it? Never happened? You don't have a driver's license, so it hasn't happened to you. Okay, but I think it's a USA thing too. So they have all.
My friend here did it.
Your friend did it?
He took cough syrup, and he was driving at night. A cop stopped him, made him walk on the line.
On the line? Did he do the thing with the fingers on the nose? They do that sometimes too.
But he told me they made him walk on the line.
They made him walk on the line.
Warning, and he was like, "Dude, I'm sick."
So that was from cough syrup, and we will go there. The thing is, some medication does have counterindications when it comes to driving. Not just heavy equipment, people. Also just driving in general, because of fatigue, of the risk of having less reflexes and all these things. So again, that is very hard to measure. How do you know if somebody has really took cough syrup or is really drowsy from alcohol? It's a bit difficult, meaning that's where the blood test kind of comes in, but they can't just grab your blood. This is not how it works. Then, we have the brand new marijuana. We have the gummies, we have the smoking, doesn't really matter, we won't go that far into details. Hey Dave, thanks for remembering my name. Yeah, Julian. I'm Julian, and this podcast is called While You Wait. For your electric vehicle to charge, or for your spaghettis to be cooked. Some people in here, I'm sure, eat SpaghettiOs. Yeah.
The glass there will change your glass.
Will change my glass. It's too watery now. Okay, my glass is being changed. Thank you very much to glass changers all over the world. Now, that being said, marijuana is new, so it's very difficult to know if somebody is under the influence of marijuana and really know it, in the sense that the police officer can give you a ticket, bring you to the police office, or all of these things. So that being said, they're implementing some ways to figure that out, and they will find ways. They have to. I mean, it makes sense. It's just that it's been around for so little time compared to alcohol that they might not yet have the best ways to figure that out. Now, of course, red eyes is one of them, and bloodstream. And now they say that they can actually find it within your mouth. They're a bit like blowing in the thing, but it's just looking at you. They should have the judgment to know. Which is also a thing to consider. Is that marijuana is something that you would really, really kind of want for police officers and all that to test, to be able to test to see if you are under the influence of this. Now, cold syrup, or allergies, yes, definitely. But I think that if there was more people who were like literally, oh, nice. That makes great sound. Thank you very much. There we go. I'm Julian. Woohoo! And we're talking about sex, drugs, and self-driving cars. Because self-driving cars could accommodate for people to have sex, drugs, and rock and roll in the car while not driving. But do you want to do that? That's what we're talking about. That's the philosophy behind it. Can self-driving cars handle the complexities of human vices like sex, drugs, alcohol, rock and roll, marijuana? Medication, whatever. Put it all in there. We are really open today. And LGBTQ plus AI plus. Okay. So FSD, the dark side of FSD, that's still where we're at, but we will leave the subject very soon to go to, the legal force and not the dark force. Meaning that it does cost something to activate that FSD. You need to pay approximately $99 per month. That's for Tesla FSD, or approximately $10,000 Canadian, so $8,000 approximately USD to buy it for life. I guess that's a life subscription, lifetime membership.
I hope it's free update.
I hope it's free update.
If it's not free update, lower risk of accident.
Lower risk of accident. Well, of course.
You need to pay.
Of course you want the update then. Why would you not get the update? Sex sells, fear sells even more, and we're talking about all of this right here, right now. So who has the means to purchase an FSD, like a full self-drive? The people who have the means to buy alcohol. This is that easy. When you're 16 years old and you have just enough money for a big beer that's 9% alcohol instead of 5 because you really want to get drunk. You're not going to have the $99 per month or the $10,000 to be able to purchase to yourself the FSD. It's not going to happen. So you're going to need to count on your parents to purchase. Maybe kids will ask that for Christmas. Mommy, Daddy, please buy me the full FSD so I can go to my parties. You want me to? That's a very good selling point.
I would ask for that.
Yeah, I would have asked for that too. So all of the kids watching us, and we're talking of sort of kind of driving age, well, please do understand that you can ask this for Christmas, your birthday, or I don't know, anything else. Anything else is definitely possible. So adults will definitely be purchasing this. Again, it's a car, so you need to have a driver's license anyhow. You will be purchasing the FSD full self-drive, and then how will you be using it is another thing. So let's get into the legality. Yeah, legal stuff. How legal do we really want to get? We want to get into the legal things related to the full self-drive because there is a law here in Vancouver, British Columbia, but most likely all of British Columbia because it's a province, so the laws are usually the same in all of the province, that has been passed on April 5th, 2024, stating that, you can't use the full FSD. And then we have some more information on this. Yes. From level 3 to 5, meaning that if you can drive a vehicle that is within the level 3 to 5, so I know that the car, like a regular car, sometimes you can pull a trailer, but we're not talking bigger than that. That's level 5. Level 6 is a motorcycle, so you could have a full self-driving motorcycle.
Not yet.
but not yet. But it's not unlawful.
Would you buy it?
No, you won't. This is a motorcycle. Why would you want it to drive itself? That would be really boring.
You want to kill yourself.
Well, you're already freezing out there, so why would you want to freeze and not drive? At least when you drive, yeah. So you freeze for suffering. You need to suffer for the driving of the motorcycle. Okay, perfect. Good. Okay.
If you're caught, your penalty starts at $368. That is the low end.
Okay.
$2,000 fine, and you also get a free driver penalty, and you can be imprisoned for 6 months.
Okay, so if you get caught, and those are for all of you who are thinking about this, I know you are. If you get caught here in British Columbia using the full self-drive while under the influence or not, that's why you need to be clever about, because it doesn't matter. Exactly, it doesn't matter. Either you're drunk or not is still not legal to use the full FSD. It's still illegal to do that. So if you get caught using the full FSD, meaning you're not driving, the car is driving on its own, you risk 6 months of prison. And then a fine of $368. Yeah. Up till $2,000. I mean, that's cheaper than the FSD, but but if you get caught like the first month you bought it, you know it's 99 bucks.
If you live in British Columbia.
You don't buy FSD if you live in British Columbia. It is illegal. That being said, that the legality of it makes it so that, well, you shouldn't buy it, because if you happen to be in an accident, well, they will look if you have the FSD, and if they can think or know that the FSD was in use, well, it's illegal in that sense. So the accident is going to be even worse because, well, you were doing something illegal. So using the FSD in British Columbia is, and I don't quote me on this, but it's as bad as driving impaired. Why? Because it's illegal. Right now it's illegal. Even though it is accessible. You can do the update. Like, I have a friend who just did the FSD update on her Tesla Model S 2017, and it works. But I don't know why the British Columbia province did not like block that, because usually you can kind of do that with IP and stuff.
They can ask Tesla not to supply.
Exactly. To be British Columbia.
And let's say if you're not using it, it's fine.
Well, yeah, but why would you buy it to not use it? You're just gonna buy it and then never use it?
Yeah, but it's fine. But could they like oblige British Columbia not to sell it?
Of course they could. Of course they could lawfully make it so that Tesla is not able to sell the FSD in British Columbia. That would make more sense, actually. But what we were seeing...
They need to do like the DGI. You're near an airport.
Exactly, they need to do the DGI. So they just geotag where you are, and then FSD is locked in British Columbia. You can't use it. But then if you go maybe to Alberta, which is the next province, then it would be okay.
Exactly.
So you purchase it, you can use it, you can just not use it in this province. A bit like the drones, yeah, a bit like the drones. So the drone, if you have a DJI drone, I know we're going a bit off subject, but it is subjectively subject. So that being said, if you have a drone, it's gonna map to GPS coordinates, and it's gonna connect and know all of these no-fly zones.
Probably your friend at one point it would be disabled.
Yeah. So if you buy it, it would just be disabled. So you try to activate it and it says no, I cannot launch. Like that's what the DJI says, or cannot activate it. It would be a good thing to have it like that, because now that they passed the law, British Columbia, they didn't necessarily so they passed the law. So if you are caught using self-drive, full self-drive, you will have these penalties. But again, you can download it. You can definitely download it. So you can purchase it and download it. So that is on you. Now you know, because this podcast is called While You Wait, and we bring you the latest information on EVs, self-driving car, and any type of technologies related to the vehicle industry. So interesting. So who will be the first person to go to jail for this? Who's patient zero? So far, it can't be me. Can't be me. Why? Because I don't have FSD. I have self-drive, but I don't have full self-drive. So on my Tesla Model X, I do have self-drive, which is pretty good. I mean, it's pretty good. You need to keep your hands on the steering wheel and all that, of course. But it's pretty good. Literally pretty good. The thing is, full self-drive is even better. Full self-drive actually really drives for you. It's gonna cross from point A to B. Exactly. So you put the destination and it goes there. I think it even stops at... Does it stop at red lights? Yeah, it stops at red lights. It's really...
It's full self.
So the thing is, myself... Exactly. So my self-drive, just the self-drive from Tesla, again, we're talking about Tesla here. If there is a red light, I need to brake. Like if I'm the first car, it's gonna keep on going. If I'm the second car, because the first car brakes, then it will brake. But it's always following another car. If there's no car in front, it's just kind of on cruise control. Meaning that it's not full self-drive. It self-drives if there's another car in front of it, or if it's on a highway and there's nobody in front of it, it becomes cruise control, pretty much, that easy. Now, the full self-drive really is gonna cross lights for you. It's gonna stop at the red light, yellow light. It's gonna try to get into traffic for you. Like, it's been shown to be really like, you know, it's a 20-year-old driver that's a guy and that wants to get to his date. Like, so far, the full self-drive is pretty téméraire. In tight places. Yeah. He's gonna try. And the car even, like, takes the mirrors and puts them in to try to pass in really tight spots. That's how crazy the car wants to get there. Like, it doesn't care about hurting itself. As a human, you might be like, I'm not sure. No, the car calculated it and it's good. It's going there. So it has a bit more balls than most humans. I mean, I'm not saying all humans, but so far, like, the shows I've seen on YouTube, people testing it, that car's got balls. The full FSD has got really big balls. The complexity of enforcing the law. So you do have this sex, drugs, and rock and roll, this self-driving car.
And rock and roll machine.
Yeah, so those are humans that are fully sex, drugs, and rock and roll that will still always do crazy things behind the wheel of their cars. And you have the full self-drive, or just the self-driving capabilities of most newer vehicles right here, right now. And now you need a way to enforce the law, which means that you need a way to know if people are actually using the self-drive or the full self-drive. And you need to know if they're impaired or not, of course. So this is all adding up to each other, which is crazy. Are we good? We're good? Okay, cool. That being said, how do you implement something like that? Like, if somebody is texting at the green, or we're going to say green light, because usually they're still texting at the green light, and you're like, I want to move. What are you doing? Well, the police officer is just on foot, and it's going to knock on your window, tuck, 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 and then you're going to be like, oh, I got caught texting. And then you get a little bit of a ticket and all of that. Now, that's one way to enforce it, because you see it. So it's very easy for a law officer to enforce it. He's seeing you texting. So he can just knock on your window and be like, I saw you texting, here's the ticket. Now, the thing is, when it comes to knowing if you're actually using the full self-drive or the self-drive on a Tesla vehicle or any other vehicle, how is a police officer gonna see that? It's not like they can have a radar that shows if you're self-driving, or can they? I mean, is that like another superpower that we don't know?
So you better drink and not text still. Because if you text and you're drunk, it doesn't matter. It's gonna catch you because you text.
Exactly.
Not because you're drunk, you put just the big glasses, you look like an old man.
Yeah.
Fine,
don't text. So there's easy ways, and I'm not saying this was for you to go test them out, people, because I'm Julian, and this podcast is called While You Wait. Meaning that if you are using self-drive or full self-drive, and you are doing other illegal things on top of that, again, we're talking about in British Columbia, it might be legal in your state or country or province to use the full self-drive. But right now, from date April 5th, 2024, it is illegal to use the full self-drive. Yeah, capabilities of your Tesla here. So if you're using this full self-drive, plus you're texting while driving, or you are under the influence while driving, and we're talking drugs, marijuana, or you are having sex while driving, well, you're just adding on to the fact that they can arrest you.
Adding on the charges.
So it's gonna be like life in prison instead of maybe 6 months.
You get caught drunk. Texting.
Yeah.
Using self-driving.
This is not gonna go well. If you add drunk, self-driving, and texting, oh my God. Oof, God's not gonna do anything for you. I mean, it's not.
And
so
I hope you didn't tint your window.
yeah, and I hope you didn't tint your window a bit too dark, because they're gonna look for that. I mean, they're gonna pound your car. That's what's gonna happen, and put your ass in jail. So we don't want that to happen. We definitely don't want that to happen. But these are things that are easier to spot. Okay, so. Easier to spot. You texting and driving, easier to spot. You blasting your speakers, easier to listen to, because
You're gonna get
you're gonna get noticed. if you have, like we said, modified your car with tinted windows or something like that, police officers, they know usually. Or if your pipe is like going ta 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 and it's not legal, well, they will arrest you for that. So all of these modifications. And then, well, if you are driving and are impaired, meaning drunk, marijuana, we're saying these drugs because they're legal in Canada, but there's many other ones that aren't, that you should not be driving on either. So the thing is, you are adding on to that. So it can be a bit easy to figure out someone who's drunk driving. Like usually they go a bit like woo, woo, woo. They don't really follow the lines. But that's the thing. So usually drunk drivers don't really follow the lines, or if you're on marijuana or LSD, whatever you're on. I mean, this is not a state for you to drive in. You're supposed to have it.
Rainbow mode doesn't.
The rainbow mode doesn't count. Rainbow mode is not like being on LSD. It's not it. Okay, now you have all of these components that are very easily, let's say, trackable. The police officer can definitely tell if you're drunk, or there's more chances. Marijuana, a bit less than drunk maybe, but still, you can kind of grasp the concept of the person. their aura, let's call it like that. They're outputting something into the world that is a bit different than somebody who just went to Starbucks. But what about FSD? How are we really gonna be able to track that FSD? So how is the law enforcement people are gonna be able to say, you know what, she was using FSD? Well, they're definitely gonna be able to ask that question if you get caught for something else on top. If you get caught for drunk driving, well then it's definitely gonna be on their checklist to check for FSD, because well, they're already there. They're not gonna go arrest somebody else to check for FSD. You can have two for the price of one. So you do that. Why? What? It's a good pay. Your boss is gonna be super happy that you like took this one person and have like 3 things on them. So we need to get to the concept of, it's still very difficult to figure out if someone is using FSD, full self-drive mode. If you're just dropping in right now, well, thank you for being here. Yeah. This podcast is called While You Wait, and it aims to entertain and educate you on everything and anything related to electric vehicles and the future of electric vehicles and vehicles in general. My name is Julian, for this podcast only. Don't forget to give a like to this and share it on all of your social media. You can take that share arrow and press it, then it will redirect you to anywhere you want to share us to. Friends, family, doesn't matter. This is a very interesting subject. Your mother-in-law that always comes over, finishes your booze, and then goes back home.
Finishes your booze.
Yeah, of course, it's always like that. They bring their own, but they bring the cheap bottle, and then they drink your good bottle.
Yeah.
It's called swapping. Yeah. It's just a thing. It's a thing. Be mindful of this, people. Be mindful. So the complexity of enforcing this law. Now, let's get right into the sex, drugs, and rock and roll of the self-driving. If you are actually impaired, meaning you've drank too much, let's keep on talking about alcohol because that's easier. Everybody has kind of alcohol usually. So if you are drunk and you activate full self-driving, it's about to get philosophical. I hope you're ready. Yeah, are you ready? Okay. And you activate full self-drive. Well, actually, it's better than you not activating it, because there's less chances of you killing somebody with FSD than without if you're drunk and driving. I know what you're gonna say. Oh, Julian, you shouldn't say that, because you're not allowed. You shouldn't drink and drive. But if ever you think you've drunk too much, drank a little bit too much, and so you activate FSD, even though it's illegal in British Columbia, well, it's still safer to do that than not to do it. Your comments, in the live comment section right here, right now. What do you think about this? Leave your comments right now. Do a poll. Okay, let's do a poll. What's the title of this poll? So complexity. Do you think that it's better to go to jail for FSD than drunk driving? Do you think it's better to use FSD when... Oh, we're just gonna say drunk? Drunk? Yes or no?
Yes, exactly. Even if both.
Okay, do you think I'm gonna put you music, people, because I'm pulling up this poll. There. Do you think it's better to use FSD when what is it? It's drunk and then not drunk? And then both? Not drunk? Both. That's so confusing. Alright, the poll is up and running. Hello, Max Power. Thank you for tuning in. We've got a lot of people here that are just coming in. So thank you so much for being here. I don't know where you are coming from. You might be coming from YouTube. You might be coming from our TikTok, our Instagram, or even our Facebook page. If you didn't know about all of these other social medias that we have, make sure you go check them out. Thank you so much for being here. I'm your host, Julian, for this podcast only. And sex, drugs, and self-driving cars. The complexities of enforcing that law are really weird. So if you are a person that has drank maybe a little bit too much, you're not sure you're gonna pass that test, you know. So you exactly. So you have a drink, and you're like, just to be sure, I'm gonna activate FSD, full self-drive mode, on my Tesla because I've had a drink. Just in case I'm a little bit more, just in case my reflexes might be less. And again, you can drink and drive. What? You can have a glass of wine and drive. Like, it depends on the extent of the glass and all that, but it is legal here in British Columbia to have had a little bit of alcohol. Now that depends on your body and all that, and drive. So if you did have a little bit and you think that maybe you had a little bit too much, or you just think that you had a little bit, so you want to be safer, you activate the full self-drive. Well, it is illegal to activate the full self-drive, and it is illegal to drink and drive. So you're committing two offenses in one thing. But quite frankly, would it be better to activate the FSD if you have drank? That's so confusing. Past tense verbs is very...
Yeah, if you're gonna drive anyway, well, why not? Go for it.
What about your old uncle that, you know?
What about your old uncle? What about him?
But he doesn't drive well.
Yeah, what about the old uncle that doesn't drink but doesn't drive well? Does he activate FSD? Or what about the teenager who drives badly because he's a teen and he doesn't yet know how to drive? What about, yes, if you just activate it because you're like, it's better? Why would you not want to activate this? Of course, it's illegal. We know. It's illegal to activate it, so we know it's illegal. But the thing is, it has been shown to be safer in many studies to have this self-drive or this assisted driving in vehicles all over. Now, Midnight Smoke says, what's the penalty for FSD? Oh yeah, because Midnight Smoke just dropped in. Okay, though the penalty for FSD is $368. It can go up to $2,000 here in British Columbia and 6 months of prison. That's what you get for activating FSD if you get caught with the FSD. And we're not talking about drunk and caught. We're talking you are your very own self. You're driving, everything's good, you just had a coffee, nothing crazy, maybe a peanut butter toast, and well, you get caught with the self-drive on. So that's $368 up to $2,000 and 6 months of prison. We're talking prison for activating something that's supposed to save lives. I know. I mean, I don't know what the province of British Columbia is thinking, but they were saying that it was because they want to test it out more, right?
Test it out more because I think they just don't understand it that well right now. No one does. I think Canada as a whole is always more cautious about these things.
Cautious? Yeah.
They know about the red light.
They know about the red light thing? What red light?
Turn that.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's good. Okay, so the thing here in British Columbia, if you've never driven in British Columbia, and you're from Quebec or Ontario, I need to tell you something about British Columbian drivers. Yes, Max Power, it is illegal in British Columbia to use the FSD. It has been illegal since April 5th, 2024 for all vehicle classes 3 to 5. So you can have a full self-drive motorcycle. But they don't exist yet. That's the only problem. So
That's
that
the business.
that being said, we were going somewhere with this in like a second ago. So the full self-drive, nope, I completely lost it. It's gone. Don't worry, people. Do you think it's better to use FSD when drunk, not drunk, both? Well, you need to understand that it is illegal to use it here. It's completely illegal. And Canada has implemented, or more like British Columbia, this law because they don't really know if it's good or not yet. In their sense. Oh, they had the red light. Okay, that's what I was getting at. Okay. Meaning, if you have driven in Quebec and Ontario, because I haven't driven anywhere else, and in British Columbia there is very rarely a left turn signal, meaning that when you're at the light, sometimes there's going to be like this arrow that's going to start flashing, and you're going to be able to turn left. And we all know the left turn is the hardest turn because it's on the left, and we are in Canada. Okay, so you get it? Perfect. We're not in the UK, people. That being said, once in a while, you get one of these green arrows and you're like, oh my God, this is crazy, it's a miracle. But most times in British Columbia, there are no arrows to do a left turn. And I'm not even joking. There's none. It's a thing. To pass on the yellow light on a left turn is a thing. The British Columbians, they want to like lower the accident rates for people who are walking or cyclists or just cars. I don't know why they just don't put arrows everywhere, like the green light arrow, because quite frankly in Quebec we have them everywhere, and here there are none. So everybody just goes on the red light. They just turn left on the red light. That's what they do. Because there's so many people driving too here in Vancouver. It's such like a small city. And I'm talking like Vancouver, greater Vancouver area where there's cars. We're not talking like up there. So there's no way you're gonna be able to do it.
Driving car, you're gonna be stuck there all day.
So that's the problem. So self-driving cars with the activation of FSD, so full self-drive, meaning that you put in where you want to go and that drives you there. You don't need to do nothing. Okay, you're supposed to kind of hold the steering wheel and stay buckled up and not read and not watch Netflix or anything like that. But still, the car will get you there. Whatever you are doing behind the wheel. Sex, drugs, rock and roll. That's the title of the podcast, people, for today. That being said, if maybe actually they did that, well, so that because they knew that it was a problem, because there is no way an FSD car is gonna go on the red light. They won't. Exactly. Yeah, the 3 laws of Isaac Asimov. The actual full FSD, like the self-driving car, will not break the law. It will not pass on the red, but then it will never be able to turn left. Like all the self-driving cars will only go right. Maybe that's how they're gonna catch them. They're gonna be like at every right corner, and then they're gonna catch them all like that. You're on FSD. You're turning right. Because you're turning right, you're not turning left.
They're not gonna check for like text.
No, they're not going to text for chat. Yeah. That don't turn on the left side. So this is a real thing. Now, we're going to close this poll. Thank you to everybody who played the game. The poll was, do you think it's better to use FSD when drunk, when not drunk, when both? Keep in mind that it is illegal. Yes, illegal. You can do 6 months of jail and pay up to $2,000 if you use your FSD in British Columbia. So keep that in mind. And drunk driving, of course, is illegal. I hope in your country. Yeah, I hope everywhere, right? We hope that. We truly hope that. That being said, 45% of people think that you should use FSD for both. So if you're drunk or not drunk, you should still use FSD. Use FSD is going to be your greater companion.
I think it's good.
Now, not drunk, people say 36%. So I don't know. And drunk, people say 18%. Well, okay, so that's scary. Meaning that you should not use it when you're drunk. Like less people want to use it when they're drunk. That's bad. You should use it when you're drunk, people. That's what it's for. But you didn't hear that here. You didn't hear that here on this podcast.
That's not a real advice. It's just an opinion.
Yeah, it's just an opinion. I have my lawyer right there. So they're saying that this is not an advice. It's just my opinion. Thank you very much. What's the penalty for driving while drunk? That's a good one. I don't know. Is it more severe? If yes, well, you choose. But the problem is that they will stack them up. They're not going to just arrest you for one thing. They will stack them up. It's like, oh, you were arrested because you were speeding and then you did not have your seat belt. So they will see the speeding on the radar, but then as soon as you pull over, if they see you don't have a seat belt, they're not going to be like, yeah, we're going to let the seat belt go. No. They're going to add that up and you're going to get ticketed more. And then you also, it depends on the province. I think you lose point or you gain points. So in Quebec, we had 15 points. And so, some offenses are worth some amount of points. Yeah, it's like a video game, but real life. Meaning that when you collect or lose, depending on your province, I don't recall, these points, well, when you're at 0, you lose your driver's license. I mean, it's that easy. You are too big of an offender, so they take you off of the streets and the roads.
BC, if you are caught for DUI, you get a minimum of $1,000 fine. And a maximum of 10 years imprisonment.
Ooh.
First offense.
First offense. Okay, first offense, if you are caught, drinking, driving, so DUI, under the influence, you can pay, the minimum is $1,000.
No, it is, minimum.
Minimum is $1,000 and then 10-year prison.
Yeah, maximum 10 years in prison.
Maximum 10 years in prison. That's only if you're drunk driving. If you kill someone while you're drunk driving, then that's different. That's different.
Second offense, it's a mandatory 30 days in prison.
Oh, so if it's your second DUI, you have the great chance to go spend 30 days in the prison of British Columbia. I don't even know where that one is, but I mean...
But if you're someone who likes to drink and drive anyway...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if you like to drink and drive, well, I mean, you'll get free meals for 30 days. Great. I like to drive, so I wouldn't not use FSD. Okay, I understand what actually Midnight Smoke is saying here. So because he likes to be really involved in the driving, he would not use FSD. This is a good subject. That's a good subject. We should note this down. Can we note this down? For maybe a next podcast episode. Now, Midnight Smoke is saying, I like to drive, so I would not use FSD. For sure, people who like to drive don't want to use FSD.
When you're drunk, you don't
But when you're drunk, yeah, it's completely different. But that being said, FSD does add a layer of safety on any driving. So maybe there should be a sort of FSD that lets you kind of control the steering in a way. I don't know how we could do that. Have kind of both at the same time. You being actively driving while the car doesn't listen to what you're doing. And drive itself. I don't know. This is completely weird. But it doesn't do it in that sense. This could be a possibility. I have no idea what or how we can make this happen. But the first person who's going to be caught doing all of this, doing FSD, doing drugs or sex or listening to rock and roll music in their vehicle, well, how are we gonna know, and what is gonna happen to them? Because there will be a first. There's always in law, there's always a first time. So they did make sure that in British Columbia it was illegal to use the FSD, so the full self-drive, because. So they're waiting for patient 0, and then they'll adjust the law accordingly to who they found, how they found, and what type of accident maybe was involved in the usage of the FSD. Because of course, like any software hardware, there is possibility for accident, but humans have been shown to make more accidents than the FSD so far. Max Power says, so cheaper and better would be... Yeah, the FSD is cheaper and better than the DUI. So if you're looking to one or the other, just don't drink and drive and use your FSD. The FSD is going to cost you a lot less, and a lot less prison time, less of everything. Plus, I think that maybe if you use the FSD, it's an offense, but I'm not sure how much of a criminal record it is, so I'm not sure if you're still going to be able to go to the USA or not. That needs to be disclosed.
You're thinking of traveling? You're going to prison?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're really weighing these options right now.
Your prison sentence, I have to have a New York trip.
Exactly. So I'm just going to do FSD instead and not drunk driving.
And we'll not sit in the
That's where we're getting at. So what if, and now follow me, people, because we're going far into the philosophy of this. What if you are really drunk, like really drunk, and your friend is really drunk, and your friend decides that it's a good idea to put you in the passenger seat of your Tesla. Again, this cannot really happen, but just follow my crazy story, okay? So he or she, they, them, doesn't matter, decides to put you in the passenger seat and decides to put some sort of, I don't know, marionette mannequin in the driver's seat with a rock on the steering wheel, and to activate FSD so that your car brings you home even though you're drunk, but you're really the passenger. You're not even driving the car, like literally.
You don't even know.
You don't even know. You're passed out. You're passed out drunk. You don't know. And then the police arrests you. Yeah, because, well, of course, they're going to be like, there's no driver in that car. Like, you put your dog there. You know, that type of crazy story that you only do when you're way too drunk and way too young. So, you get arrested for that. But was it still safer? Was it?
You know what I would do?
What?
Put myself in the trunk.
You would put yourself in the trunk? So the car is just like... Yeah, like, I got kidnapped by my car.
And they send me home.
Yeah.
I would do that.
Yeah, so okay, maybe if you put yourself in the trunk, it would be way better. Way better. So far, more plausible. My friend put me in the trunk. I did not have access to any of this. And now I'm driving home, but my Tesla is driving me back home. What do you think about this? Leave us a comment in the live comment section. Tell us, well, because robot taxi are close to being here, and FSD is the closest we have to these robot taxis. Now, of course, taking a Uber would be a lot more clever because you would have a real driver that can actually activate their real FSD. So you could have a real driver with a real FSD all at the same time while you're drunk. Plus, it's not your car. So if ever you vomit in it, you just pay a little extra fee.
If it's just one person,
Uh-huh.
you cannot punish a machine.
No, you can't punish the machine.
Whoever's there will be
Punished.
responsible.
Yes.
How much or what happened and what got you there are technicalities.
Yes.
They have to punish someone. They can't punish a car.
No,
Put
so-
yourself in the trunk.
So they will punish the passenger, the person in the car at that time. Carl says, I would choose a Uber. Yeah, I know you would, but that's not where we want to go. Where we want to go is that in a very soon to be world, there is a possibility that some cars are going to be able to have you as passengers. So you will be able to be drunk and be taken home by your vehicle without them needing to drive, without you driving as a driver. Now, full self-drive is pretty much what that is. And Mercedes has, from what we know, developed a full self-drive that you don't need to drive. So that means you could be drunk in the car. So what are we going to do? Are we going to say that people can just not be drunk in cars? Like even as passengers? Like being drunk in a car is illegal now.
But what about buses? You take the buses.
Yeah, what about the bus? Because even public transport, unless you're like really disturbing, really disturbing the public peace, then you can totally be drunk in the bus. Or high.
What's the difference?
Yeah, what would be the difference? There's no difference. Is there? Leave a comment. Tell me if there's a difference, because this is really philosophical subject. Sex, drugs, and self-driving cars. If you are under this influence and your car can self-drive, well, you have a driver. So it doesn't matter if you're drunk or not in that sense. Now we're talking full self-drive capabilities. We're talking things that have been, of course, accredited or that are safe to not drive. Now Michael Luder says, I don't trust Mercedes.
They were the safest.
They are the safest.
Advance of,
Yeah, they're always at the advanced safety technology feature.
Kind of car racism.
Yeah, this is some car racism. This is no joke, trust me. Well, you don't trust them. Why would I trust you? I mean, it's so complicated. Plus, I had a Mercedes and I had no issue with it, so I don't know what your personal experience with it is. But it was super safe. These high luxury cars usually spend a lot more money in R&D. So they are more technologically advanced and they are safer in general because they cost more. They don't charge you just for the name. They actually have experts, engineers, mechanics, scientifics behind these cars. And of course, designers to make it pretty and all that. So you're paying for that prettiness too, the aesthetics. But not just that. You're paying for everything. It's an everything. So I don't understand.
Mercedes.
Where is Mercedes from? Is it from?
Germany.
It's from Germany.
Best car ever.
Best car ever. Okay. I love it when we fight. This is crazy. Okay. Let's do a little recap. If you still have something to add, well, make sure that you add it in the comment section. Can self-driving cars handle the complexities of human vices like sex, drugs, and rock and roll? Meaning that if you are in the car and you are having sex, on drugs, and listening to rock and roll, and the car is self-driving, do you think that it can get you there as well as if you were not under the influence of any of those things? Well, what's the difference? If it can already self-drive, it doesn't know you're drunk. It just thinks that you're like a human sitting there, and it activates the airbag and it tells you to buckle up. It doesn't know what's your state. It doesn't take your blood when you get in. We're not there yet, but maybe that would be something very interesting to implement in the future. A bit like Tesla's FSD now has a camera on the sort of kind of dashboard, like over there, the windshield, so that it sees you. Now, I don't know how they're processing this data, and I don't know who you're signing your soul to, but that is a thing. So to activate the FSD, they need to film you or like see you, and then you need to keep your hands on the steering wheel at all times, and you need your butt to be sat on the actual driver's seat. So you can't just be a passenger with the full self-driving of Tesla yet. Then you also need to be buckled up. The doors need to be closed, and all of that other stuff. But that being said, it means that if you activate the FSD right now, we're not sure they know you're drunk. Like, if you actually hold the steering wheel, sit down, buckle up, and shut up, well, most likely the car... Yeah, they're gonna put a voice thing. If you're acting weird, maybe they're gonna be able with like AI computing to see that you're drunk, so they will lock your car. A bit like, drunk drivers, like DUIs. People who had DUIs, they have to blow in their car before they leave with it. That's a thing that I've seen. Yeah, you make your friend blow. You're not supposed to do that. That's a loophole. But I'm Julian. And this is While You Wait, the podcast that brings you entertainment and information about anything and everything related to electric vehicles. Meaning that how is your car supposed to know that you are having sex in the car, that you are under the influence in the car, or that, if you're blasting your speakers, then it definitely knows. Yeah, it definitely knows because it's your car. That it will know. So it can know if your girlfriend moves over and is not on their seat anymore. That it can know. It can know if she unbuckles. It can know, and it's going to start beeping and things like that. So that it can know, but in a general sense, can it really know if you're drunk or not? Not really, unless they implement this type of security on the self-driving cars. And there's a big chance that when we're gonna get there to implementing that, the car is gonna be so much self-driving that it's not gonna matter anymore. You're really not gonna have to drive the car. Maybe they will actually oblige you to be in the passenger seat when you are under the influence, so you can...
Just like in the movie...
Which movie? A movie with the guy. The movie with the guy.
The black guy.
With Will Smith?
And they're driving, and he put the car in like manual mode.
Yeah, that movie. Okay, so there's the movie with Will Smith, and I think he was driving like a futuristic Audi. It's with like all the robots. It's with all the robots. It's iRobot. Okay, yeah. So he's driving, and then these cars are all self-driving, but he's like, no, I'm not gonna self-drive it because the robots are gonna talk to it, and no. So he switches gears, yeah, kinda, and he starts driving it manually. So in that sense, if you are drunk or something like that, maybe yes, you will not be allowed to be in the passenger seat. You will be only allowed, to be in the driver's seat. You will only be allowed to act as a passenger so that the car can do its thing, and you cannot do something to the car.
To put it in manual mode, it's a complex mathematics.
To put it in manual mode, it's a complex mathematic equation. A bit like behind those lottery tickets. So you need to do that. You need to do that. That's what's happening. If you answer the questions right, then you are allowed to manually drive it. So all of this technology, again, it's becoming widely available and accessible. It's not only on electric vehicles that we're seeing it. Some of non-electric vehicles like Mercedes are unrolling this self-drive and full self-drive capabilities. We're talking just about AI, sensors, algorithms, cameras. I mean, this is just what it is. So it is a thing of the future, but it's also a thing of right now. Meaning that we might not need to have like an in-between. Maybe we're just gonna go from having to be there with our car in full self-drive to just full self-drive. But the laws are gonna need to change. You're gonna need to maybe be a passenger in the car if you're under the influence. And a bit like having a limo. You know, when you have a limo, you can have sex, drink, do all these things in the back of the limousine, listen to rock and roll, because somebody's literally driving you. So it's, okay, you're not supposed to do that because you're supposed to be buckled up and all that, but we understand the limo culture, people. We've all seen the movies. Tesla is one of the only cars so far that has the FSD to my knowledge. If you know any other cars that has full FSD, well, Mercedes, but like, have we really heard about it? No, that's the thing. So I don't know if they have, but is it like really activated? It's really activated?
Yeah, it is the only one that you don't need.
So you can activate it right now.
It's better than Tesla.
And it's better than Tesla. So Mercedes and Tesla have it right now. Plus, well, Mercedes is better than Tesla's.
And also it's the island.
Well, it's the iron car, so we're not getting all that information because, well, there's less people who are using it. It's pretty easy. So nobody can buy this car, to what my knowledge is right now. Great. That means that, well, good luck driving if we're still gonna need to drive if you can't own a Mercedes or a Tesla. Unfortunately, there's always public transport or Uber, though. We have seen recently the actual first self-driving, so autonomous vehicle race. Yeah. And it was a flop for the competitivity of the race, but it was a really big step for humanity. Meaning that these cars did not crash, they did not try to hate each other and like bam, bam, bump into each other like bumper cars. They were very prudent, very safe, respected distances. I mean, these cars were behaving better than children at the daycare. Like, this is crazy. It's crazy. They were really, really good. So self-driving or autonomous cars are safer. So far, they are safer. But still, I don't know why British Columbia decided to pass this law that makes it so it is illegal. Because it's illegal to use the self-drive mode in British Columbia. Now, we have a theory. Yeah, the theory is that because there are not many left turning arrows on lights in British Columbia, and that the full self-drive has the full self-drive, so meaning it will not pass at a red light. It will not do it. But here in British Columbia, if you want to go on the left, you will have to pass on a red light. Everybody does it. They say that there's red light cameras everywhere, but quite frankly, I mean, they should just take off all the red light cameras, take that money, and purchase little arrows, little green arrows that make you turn. That'd be way better.
The guy that passed the law got a self-driving Tesla and couldn't go through.
Oh, so maybe that's what happened. Okay, so the guy that passed the law is somebody with an FSD Tesla, and he couldn't get through, and he got mad, so he passed the law. This is a theory. This is an unproven theory, but it's a good theory. I like that theory. I mean, it makes a little bit of sense. The dark side of having FSD or having these cars that can actually bring you from A to B without you needing to drive or needing to be conscious. In that sense, well, makes it so some people might use it in that way. So drink a little bit more, smoke a little bit more marijuana. Whereas before they were like, I'm not going to risk it, but since my car self-drives, well, I have this extra layer of safety, so I'm just going to use it. So that's a flip side, but again, not everybody's going to do that, though. It is to be said that if you're holding the steering wheel so far and you're not committing any of the strikes that Tesla is seeing, so you are keeping your seat belt on, your butt is there and you're in the driver's seat, there's no way the Tesla is gonna know you're drunk or like under the influence. Even a police officer, the car is gonna drive straight. So unless you get into an accident, there's not really any ways to enforce that law, which is a bit of an interesting thing. So maybe the law is there just to wait it out, see what happens. And also, well, to make sure that they have enough data to allow people to use it. Though people are already using it right here, right now. Exactly. So there is that flip side where if you allow FSD, full FSD, you might be allowing people to get drunk and drive. Because it's supposed to be full self-driving. And we've seen this with cruise control. People thought cruise control was self-driving back in the day. So meaning that maybe they just want to, get in front of the problem. And even self-drive from Tesla, people thought it was full self-drive, which it isn't. It's like a cruise control that's really clever, but it doesn't stop at red lights. It doesn't see that there's a red light there. That's the difference between self-drive and full self-drive. Full self-drive, even though you're the first one at the light, will see that it's green or red and will stop or accelerate, whereas self-drive will not do that. The subject was sex, drugs, and self-driving cars. I hope that we answered all of your philosophical questions about the subjects. If you do have more, make sure you drop them in the comment, because the community is very interactive. I will answer, but there's a big chance that somebody else is going to answer so that we can keep on talking about this. It's not because the podcast has done airing in this live format that we cannot keep on discussing this. Now, if there are some implementations, you can always come back and we will do another podcast to add on top of it. Thank you to everybody who has tuned in. Make sure that you know on your calendar that the podcast airs live at 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Saving Time, Vancouver time. I'm Julian. Yeah, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, definitely not gonna self-drive after all the stuff I drank. How are they gonna enforce this law? This is kind of impossible. This is impossible. They're still coming through. This is impossible.